Hi everyone, welcome to my show. This is Blanche on Blanche TV. Actually, I do normally do a cooking show, but because so many of you have asked me for more nutritional and fitness information, I decided to start a series called Self-Care Saturday. And depending on how much interest I get in this video, I will determine whether I should continue it. So if you are interested in this kind of content to be your best self, please leave a comment, like, or share, and then I could gauge interest. And for the first episode, I thought I would share my beef with Jillian Michaels' rant about the keto diet. Are you ready for this first episode? Let's get started. Now, I just want to preface this that I have been a licensed fitness instructor for the past 5 years. I've been researching nutrition since I was 16. It's something I'm very passionate about. So when I heard Jillian Michaels talk a lot of crap about the keto diet, I decided to deconstruct a lot of the myths that she put in this video, which I'm really surprised because I thought she knew her stuff, but a lot of the stuff that was spewing out of her mouth was absolute fallacy. So I'm going to break it down right now in 6 ways. Number 1, Jillian Michaels says that the keto diet is basically Atkins recycled, which is not true. The Atkins diet focuses more on protein and fat for a low-carb diet, but the keto diet is different in that it emphasizes about 80% of your calories to come from fat. Now, for many people, this sounds kind of crazy, especially since we've been trained to think that fat makes you fat, when really that's not the case at all. It's all about insulin management when losing weight. It's not just about calories in, calories out. Especially for people who have diabetes, it's really managing your insulin levels and making sure that they are low. And the only kind of macro that you can eat that does not raise insulin is indeed fat. So basically what happens is when you're on the keto diet, your body goes into ketosis. It's a metabolic state in which some of the body's energy supplies comes from ketone bodies in the blood rather than from glucose or glycogen. And so Jillian Michaels is all about, managing your calories, reducing calories and exercising more. And as you've seen on The Biggest Loser, a lot of the people on that show regain the weight very quickly. But people on the keto diet have managed to stay on it for a longer time because they're able to eat fatty foods that they love, although taking away that sugar. And it has been tremendous for people who have been looking for insulin modulation. And that's what losing weight is really all about. In her video, Jillian Michaels emphasizes the importance of eating fruits like mangoes, papaya, and pineapple. Probably the worst fruits you can eat for a variety of reasons. All right, let's start with the papaya. 75% of the nation's papaya are produced in Hawaii, and most of them are GMO. Many people would be surprised to know that Hawaii is ground zero for GMOs. It is basically a test tube ground for Monsanto. And so most of the papaya you're going to eat most likely has glyphosate unless you get organic papaya, which is pretty hard to come by. The second fruit she talks about are pineapples. A lot of the pineapples also come from Hawaii, which are sadly loaded with glyphosate. And there are quite a few pineapples coming from Costa Rica. Now in Costa Rica, there's so many pesticides used in the pineapples that it's caused water contamination. There's also been plenty of deforestation because of pineapples, and they also treat their workers pretty crappy on the pineapple plantations. So I'd say so far, mangoes and pineapples are really not my favorite. Other than their extremely high sugar content, for people that want to keep their insulin levels low, there are other environmental factors to consider. Next up, let's talk about mangoes. Did you know that there are 12 different insecticides used for mangoes? Mangoes are also a super high sugar fruit. Now, there's a running theme here. I know that probably every fruit has some sort of pesticides, insecticides, and it's always good to buy organic. But when you're shipping in tropical fruits from other places, it's not really eating seasonally. The best thing we can do as humans is to eat the way humans did thousands of years ago. And what they did was they depended on seasonal produce, seasonal fruit that was around for them at the time. And at the time, they only ate this kind of fruit maybe 3 months out of the year. They didn't get fruit shipped in from other parts of the world. And so if we kind of mimic that lifestyle, that will be our best bet. Back then, humans needed that extra sugar in the summertime because they were far more active, and these sugars also fattened humans up to prepare them for winter so that they could have more fat to protect them before winter came in. Today, in this industrialized age, we really don't need all that sugar all year round. We can get plenty of fuel from other food sources. Okay, point number 3 that Jillian Michaels says is the single most way to reduce insulin is to exercise. I kind of agree and disagree. Yeah, exercise does help, and as a fitness instructor, I'm all about helping people exercise to achieve their best self. But I also tell my students when they're trying to lose weight that abs are made in the kitchen, that weight loss is 80% diet and 20% exercise. Exercise is very important, but you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. So you could exercise for hours and hours in a day, but if you eat crappy, it could still lead to insulin spikes. It could still lead to weight gain. On the other hand, there are some people that never really work out, that manage their insulin and eat a really clean, sound diet without much sugar, and they'll stay slim. And to be honest, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, also known as NEAT, is just as important as, going to the gym and hammering out exercise. It's that everyday exercise that we do, whether you're cleaning your house, doing laundry, walking, taking long walks to the parking lot or whatever. All of this stuff is important. Jillian Michaels calls ketosis a state of emergency. But did you know that newborns are born in ketosis? Did you know that breast milk is ketogenic? And the breast milk is full of fats so that babies are in a state of ketosis. And this is very important for brain development because most of our brains are made of fat. So if being in ketosis is a state of emergency, it can't be that bad if infants are born in ketosis. And so you would naturally conclude that if infants, as they're breastfeeding, they're in a ketogenic diet, it would probably benefit them to further their growth with a ketogenic diet. So especially for kids, they need that adequate fat so that they can develop their tissues, their brains, all the other organs. So it's really kind of funny that she says it's a state of emergency when it really isn't at all. My next point is, while Jillian Michaels says that she's had many success with her clients, which I'm sure she has, again, let's go to the Biggest Loser example. And when people exercise like crazy and drastically reduce their calories, it actually increases cortisol. It increases the feeling to binge because the body's been so dramatically depleted. It actually causes metabolism to dip. So if it's so successful, then people would continue to do it. But obviously, this method of weight loss is not successful, and that's why people have turned to the ketogenic diet. And I always look at, whenever celebrities or the government really endorse something, I always get a little bit suspicious, and I look at, the kind of endorsements that Jillian Michaels has had in the past. It's been companies like General Mills, which has products that are just loaded with GMOs, glyphosate, refined carbohydrates. I mean, on the Biggest Loser show, they were advocating eating those 100-calorie Chips Ahoy cookie packs. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. It's not satiating. It spikes your insulin levels. I mean, eating refined sugars is no way to lose weight, even if it's in 100-calorie cookie packs. So whenever you see celebrities really punching down on something or endorsing something, always beware. Always look at who their sponsors are, what they're trying to shill and peddle. Now, my final point is the ketogenic diet the ultimate diet? Of course not. Some people do great on the ketogenic diet, and some people do terribly on it. Do what's right for you. But I really have issue with people like Jillian Michaels being so condescending and telling everyone that one diet fits all.
I don't understand. Why would anybody think this is a good idea? You know what we need to do? All fat and animal protein. Ding, ding, ding. No, bad plan.
Genetically, we are all different. We all have different ancestry, I'm Middle Eastern. My ancestors had a different diet than somebody, for example, who lived in Central Europe, who can handle lactose and dairy, for example. And Middle Eastern people cannot handle that. Some people can process carbohydrates really well. Some people can process fats real well. The most important thing is to try out what works for you. Take a journal, write down what you're eating, how your body responds to it. Are you losing weight? Are you gaining weight? Is your skin breaking out? Are you low on energy and fatigued? Are you high in energy? All of those things are really important. But to look down upon people like, you're doing the ketogenic diet, which is the worst thing, oxidative stress, blah, 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 is pretty ridiculous. Especially because she implies that people on ketogenic diets don't eat vegetables and that they're binging on meat all day, which is really not the case. So that pretty much wraps up my Self-Care Saturday quib for you. Now, if you want to see more episodes like this, please leave it in the comments. If you have any questions, fitness-related, nutrition, diet-related questions, like I said, I research like no other, and I would be happy to churn out another episode addressing the most pertinent, the most important questions coming from all of you. So thank you so much. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and that little bell next to Blanche TV, and I'll be back in my next video.